How's it going? So this will be for Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. Really quick before I get into it, I want to let everyone know that I'm taking questions for the podcast. I'm taking emails. So if you have any questions or if you need any advice for anything, go ahead and email me. It's 𝙤𝙤𝙨 𝘍𝙤𝙀𝙗@gmail.com. I'll eventually have a more legitimate setup, but for right now, it's just me. I'm just in my van, parked at the Panera Bread. Right now, I just had a good salad and some hibiscus tea. But yeah, I want to remind everyone or thank everyone for listening. And yeah, send me your questions, your if you need advice, if you just, just want to talk shit. It's 𝙤𝙤𝙨 𝐶HANDIESPEAKS@gmail.com. So yeah, I was gonna head up to the quote dispensary. I say dispensary in quotation marks because out here in Georgia they don't really have dispensaries. They have like little head shops, what we call them in Colorado, like little pipe shops or vape shops, and they sell synthetic marijuana. They have this thing called THCP that I've been kind of getting down with. So I wanted to record this before I got high. So this is me sober, you guys. This is me completely sober. I'm just high on life. So yeah, let's get into it. I committed to 30 minutes, so that's hopefully what I'll be able to do here. I think last week, okay, so I did take notes this time, so I won't be having all this dead space with nothing to talk about. But yeah, last week I talked about just the post-vacation depression. And I got some people talking about that. I did have to look up because what I did was I went out of the country by myself, and a lot of people they don't think too much of it, but it really is a big thing, and I'm happy that I was able to do it. I'm grateful that I was able to do it. I was able to pay for my own way, get there, come back safely, and have all these beautiful stories and memories and connections that I've made. So just on a whim, I looked up the statistics on just how many people in the world get to travel freely. So by this time, I'm 36 years old, and in my life, I've been I've been on an international vacation 5 different times. And I had to look up, just not a lot of people get to do that. Most people, well, before I found the statistics, I believe that most people would never be able to do that. So I looked up, what are the statistics? And here we are. We're going to start it off with some numbers for you. What are the statistics for the people in the world who travel to at least 5 different countries within their lifetime? And it's crazy. Let's see what I have here. As of 2023, this is what it says on Google. As of 2023, 17% of the world's population, which is roughly 8 billion people, equates to 1.36 billion people. So 17% of the world's population get to travel to more than 5 different countries within their lifetime. I also went and asked ChatGPT or Chatbox, one of these AI things, what are the statistics for people in the world who travel to at least 5 different countries within their lifetime? This is what they said. And I hope this inspires people. Like I said, my whole reason why I do this is for me, for growth and yada, yada, yada. But I also posted every single day, every single moment that I was out in Guyana recently, I posted it within my stories on Instagram. And I inspired some people, and I just want to continue to inspire people to just do it, I always tell people that even if you have no one to travel with, just go. So yeah, this is what the answer said. It says, globally, the percentage of people who travel to at least 5 countries within their lifetime varies significantly based on geographical location, their income level, education, and other demographic factors. So according to the Pew, I'm probably saying that wrong, Pew Research Center data, A median of 17% of respondents across surveyed countries have traveled to between 5 and 9 countries, while 13% have visited 10 or more countries. So I'm in the 17% of the world, you know, and like that kind of brought a little tear to my eye. Here I am thinking like, you know, like I'm just struggling. Well, I'm not really struggling. It's just like, it was hard. It wasn't as easy as I made it seem. Like I posted hundreds of thousands of stories. I have video diaries on my Van Life Diaries YouTube page of every single time that I've went and traveled internationally. And I just kind of make it look easy, but it was really fucking hard. And I was like, you know, kind of coming down on myself. Like, I don't know if I should be doing this. Obviously I should be, you know, it's definitely rewarding. Definitely worth the experience. Like I said, if you have a passport, just book a flight, and then the rest will be easy from there. I know it's I'm going back and forth. Figuring out everything else is like the easy part. The hardest part is just taking that first step. And 17% of the people in the world. So here we go. I have statistics by region. So Europe, we have and here's countries like Sweden and the Netherlands stand out with high travel frequencies. Of course, you know, Europe is crazy big and there's like everywhere around. You can literally be in one spot in the daytime, and by the end of the day you'll have traveled to like 5 different countries if you plan out your route. So mostly Europeans, they get the privilege of traveling to more than 10 countries, at least 5 to 9 countries. The majority have visited 10 or more countries. So going to United States, 14%. So I'm even in a more rarer breed here in the United States. Only 14% of Americans have traveled to between 5 and 9 countries, with only 11% visiting 10 or more countries. I'm at 5 countries right now, but if I travel to 5 more countries in my lifetime, I'll be within 11% of the U.S. population. That's crazy. It's beautiful to think about like that. We also have, what does it say? Low income regions. In countries such as, I can't see it, it's kind of blocked. Low income regions, only 3% have traveled outside of their home country. So money does have a lot to do with it. Opportunity, education, things like that. So yeah, that was just a little. Oh, India. Okay. In countries such as India, where only 3% have traveled outside their home country, the numbers for traveling to multiple countries are much lower. And then it goes into demographic factors like income and education. The higher income and education levels correlate strongly with an increased international travel. So, for example, in the U.S., higher earners and college graduates are more likely to have traveled extensively. I do not earn a lot of money, okay? I'm in the lower middle class or whatever. I do not have a extremely high income, damn near poverty, and I do not have any college education. I just have, you know, the willpower, the can-do attitude. I got a passport in 2017. What year did I get my passport? 2017 I got my passport, and then I took my first international trip in 2018 to San Pedro, Belize. With my ex-husband, we got divorced, and then once I was on my own, it was just, you know, one after another. I've been to an average of 1.25 countries a year since 2021, and I'm really grateful. Like I said, I'm a part of the 14% of Americans who get to do that. All right. So, yeah, cool. I got 10 minutes down. I think that was a good topic. Okay, and there's another thing I also wanted to bring up, sort of a positive note. So I got this idea from Instagram. It was to get a book, like a notebook, and then travel, and then have people who you meet on these vacations, these trips, to write something in the book, like advice-wise. So I haven't even read this really since I got back from Guyana. So I'm going to read it now. I was going to make a Van Life Diaries episode, but I was like, hey, I can just fill in the podcast for it. By the way, I'm no longer doing Van Life Diaries. If anyone hasn't grasped that already, I'm just kind of moving on to the next stage. A subscriber from my YouTube channel actually gave me this idea of just kind of doing this, just speaking without having to like get on here and show you what I'm doing day to day. They're great. It's great content. I have over 250 episodes of Van Life Diaries. Go check it out. Chandie Speaks on YouTube. But, you know, we're moving on to the next chapter. So I'm going to read just the entries that I got really quick. So the first one comes from Eileen, who I met at a bike tour, on a bike tour in Guyana. All these are from Guyana. I didn't actually get a chance to... There's a lot of people who aren't in this book who I wanted to, but we didn't actually, you know, things didn't work out, and I didn't get a chance to get some life advice from them. So the people who I remembered to bring the book and remembered to ask, those are the people in this book. It's like 5 of them. So this one's from Eileen from Toronto, Canada. Shout out to Canada. Shout out to Eileen. I met her on the bike tour when I was taking a tour through Georgetown, the capital of Guyana. And she really didn't know what to write. She was the first person to write in the book. She didn't really know what to write. She says, "I think you're doing great. Keep it up." So this is just something that, you know, it's nice to have. It's nice to read when I'm feeling like just a little down. The next one comes from Vancouver, another Canadian, who I think they wrote this while we were out at dinner. We eventually, I met like 3 Canadians on this bike tour, and we eventually, like a few days later, went out to eat at, now the name escapes me. It's a smokehouse in Georgetown. Scotty's Smokehouse. So this is from Juno. I don't remember his name, honestly. Juno from Vancouver. He says, "I think you're full of..." What? I cannot read this handwriting. "I think you're full of great soul. Follow your heart." Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Juno from Vancouver. This is also from Taco. I believe that's his name, or at least his nickname. His name is Taco from Vancouver, Canada. And he wrote, on March 26th, 2025, I like that he put the date there. "Take the time to look at the small things that connect everything and appreciate the beauty. The flowers to plant..." I cannot read your chicken scratch, bro. The flowers to plant between the cracks, the strings and threads in the fabric, etc. Okay, thank you, Taco. Take the time to look at the small things that connect everything and appreciate the beauty. The flowers and plants between the cracks, the strings and threads in the fabric, etc. And he also wrote, Taco from Vancouver in Georgetown, Guyana. Thank you, Taco. This is from, Faith, I believe. I don't actually know who this is. I believe this is Faith from the 𝗁𝗏𝗄𝗏 tour. I took a waterfalls tour on like my second to last day, and this was a girl who was in our, I'm assuming, because I haven't read this since that day. She says, strive to live in harmony with God and nature. Faith. Okay, yeah, I think we got 3 more, right? Okay, so this is from my my island bestie, my Guyanese bestie, Rochelle. Shout out to Rochelle. I'll just go a little disclaimer. She was drunk. We were pretty drunk when I asked her to write in this. So this is chicken scratch. I can hardly read it, but I'm going to try. She says, the only way you'll find it is to be it. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and sometimes that beholder should have a black eye. Also, I got this wrong. I butchered this, but I mean well. I love you. Rochelle. Thank you, Rochelle. Chicken scratch. But I get the gist. She's my best friend. Please go watch those episodes from Guyana. She's in a few of the episodes. She was like, yeah, just my go-to girl when I was out there. And this is also from my other friend who we hung out a few times. And I like that he wrote, the date, which was March 23rd, 2025, which was my birthday. So on my birthday, this is from Daryl from Guyana. Shout out to Daryl. He says, 2 things to always remember. Number 1, always remember to notice the collateral beauty in your life. And number 2, aim for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll be with the stars. March 23rd, 2025, Daryl from Guyana. Thank you, Daryl. That actually made me cry when I read it the next morning. I was hungover as shit. We went on a boat cruise tour down the Demerara River. I'm totally saying that wrong. I miss them. Okay, and we have this. She didn't even write her name, but I believe this was from Samantha. I remember her name. She was also on the 𝘬𝗺 Falls tour with me, and I asked her to write in it, and she wrote, live in the moment. Actually, I forgot where she was from. She's also from Canada. I met quite a few Canadians out there. She says, live in the moment, take care of yourself first, and then you'll be in the best position you can be in to help. She wrote in cursive. Oh my God. Beautiful handwriting, but it's can hardly read in cursive. I'm gonna start over. Live in the moment, take care of yourself first, and then you'll be in the best position you can be in to help and be kind to the people around you. Push yourself outside of your comfort zone. It's the best way to learn and to grow. Be comfortable in the uncomfortable and let yourself feel all your feelings. Life is about the experiences and the people you meet along the way. That actually almost made me tear up a little bit. I just read that for the first time. Thank you, Samantha. And last but not least, we have advice from John, who I also met on the 𝘬𝗺 Falls tour. I forgot where he was from, somewhere in the United States. But he just writes, be like water. John. Okay, so that was it. That was all the advice. I highly recommend doing that. I'm going to bring this advice book with me everywhere I go outside of the country, and it would just be really nice. Like I said, I almost teared up just now reading that. Today is Sunday. This will be uploaded on Wednesday the 7th, but today is May the 4th, and I do want to give a quick little shout out to my dog. Both of my dogs. My dog that's alive, Ashes, and my dog that passed away on May the 4th in 2022, Harley. She was actually born on May 1st, on May Day, 2014, and she was my original road dog. She's traveled everywhere with me. We've been homeless together. She's been on trains and long bus rides, Greyhounds. We slept on the sidewalk together. She's come back to Colorado. She was my ride or die. Harley, this is for you. I love you. She died from stomach cancer on May the 4th. Actually, on May the 1st, we celebrated her 8th birthday. And then, like, literally the very next day, she started becoming very lethargic. She started, pooping pools of blood. I've never made an episode about her specifically, but I was going through my recordings, and I have the recording of the day that I got the news. It was like a 5-minute recording of, I was in the veterinarian, and I have the doctor telling me exactly what needs to be done, that she needs to have exploratory surgery to figure it out, but because of her age, it's a high risk. She had multiple tumors in her stomach. Best dog ever, German Shepherd, best dog ever. And I had to basically make the hardest decision that I've had to make ever in my life to get her put down the next day. Somewhere in Arizona. Wow. Somewhere in Arizona, I went to the vet, and I asked a friend to come with me. It was the first time I've ever had to put down a dog, and I was actually bawling out of my mind. Like, they said it was critical, that we need to make a decision. She was overheating, and she was just, she was very sick, multiple stomach tumors. So I was actually crying so hard in the hospital that another patient or another customer who was there for their own shit offered to buy her ashes for me. So and it was like $350. So that's why I have my dog's ashes Harley's ashes. For the longest time, she was riding passenger side with me, but I just moved her close to the back with Ashes, with my other dog. So yeah, just today's her death day, and I just wanted to just put that on there. I know this won't be uploaded until well after the fact, but every year, the first week of May is kind of, feeling a little emotional here. We gotta get a drink. Every year, the first week of May has always just been kind of hard. It never really gets easier. Everyone grieves in their own ways. It never really gets easier. I just kind of, I just feel my feelings, and then, do something nice for Ashes, for my dog that I have, my best friend, and just keep it moving. Everything that lives dies, and it's just the circle of life, right? All right, I think that's kind of all I really want to talk about. I can't believe I rambled for 20 minutes. Mostly about, traveling. I want to convert. So like what I'm planning on doing here, cause this is really ghetto right now. I'm just kind of recording from my phone, but I have, like I said, some big plans. I want to convert my van into like a sort of halfway podcast studio. Kind of, so that when I'm on the road, I can just like, hey, you want to come on my podcast show? I want to have guest stars and stuff. Eventually I'll be having guest speakers, and maybe I'll do an actual video of that once I get my equipment. I have equipment coming in the mail. But yeah, I've been brainstorming a lot about like, how can I turn this into like a podcast studio? So that's basically what my next big level is going to be. I gotta keep moving forward. This has been therapeutic. This helps me just sort of, get it out. I gotta get it out. I spend a lot of time by myself. And I've said this before in my other videos, Van Life Diaries. I can go days. Like if I can go days without speaking to one. If I have, like with self-checkout especially, if I have like 3 days off of work and I use self-checkout, I could quite possibly go days without speaking to anyone. And it's kind of crazy. People need connection, and just talking. I appreciate everyone who takes their time out of their day to just talk to me. I have friends who we can just talk for hours, and it's like unplanned, and it's like it just flows. And I really value those relationships that I have. I value the people that value me. So without getting too sappy, what else did I want to talk about? Talked about Harley, talked about vacation statistics, 19 things I learned as a hobo. I think we can end it on that, right? I made this list when I was living nomadic in California. Now I'm going to bring it back right now. For the first time ever, I was with an ex who basically taught me how to be in the van life, the nomadic lifestyle. We were dating for a couple years. We decided to sell all of our stuff or put some of it in storage or whatever. We minimized like drastically, and we lived in a van, and that eventually turned into another van. But eventually we sold the vans, and only thing we had was like whatever we could carry on our back. I think I had, a big ass backpack with like a week's worth of clothes, some dog food, my guitar, and like that's it. And he had like the same thing, like just like a week's worth of clothes and like his tools. And we were completely nomadic, like without van life. Van life is kind of like kind of a privilege for me. So we sold all our stuff. I had my German Shepherd, and we took an Amtrak or Greyhound. I think it was Amtrak. I fucking forget. What did we take? I think we took an Amtrak to California, and we were living in Los Angeles on Skid Row. And people don't believe me when I say this. Skid Row is an actual real place, okay? And back when I was there, we did this in 2017, the beginning of 2017, like January. We sold all of our stuff and got on the Amtrak and just booked it to California. And we slept on the sidewalks in a tent for like months. So that, to this day, that's still one of the greatest experiences. I tell everyone that was some of the greatest months of my life. It taught me taught me a lot. And without making this too long and sappy, because we're getting near the end here, I made a list of 19 things that I learned as a hobo. Let me just pull it up. And I'm just going to read it out for you. These are the things that I learned while I was out there. Some of them still apply today, and, you know, maybe, you know, we can tweak a little bit of them. But, so, yeah, the first thing that I learned is there's no such thing as a picky eater. And I remember that because, you know, I'd be sitting on the beach or we'd be sitting on the sidewalk, and sometimes people would just walk up and then just give us food. And, you know, I'm not a particular fan of, like, mushrooms or, like, you know, certain, let's see, what else I don't like. Really, mushrooms is kind of like all I don't like. Not the trippy kind, you know. Of course, I love those. And I would just eat it. Like, sometimes it would be, like, half eaten. Sometimes people will give me just like, hey, do you want the rest of these fries? And I was like, hell yeah, man, I'm fucking hungry. There's no such thing as a picky eater. It was, like, the first thing that I wrote down as a hobo. Number 2 was sometimes you don't know what day it is. Sometimes you know what day it is. And that was, you know, very applicable, because sometimes I didn't know what day it is. You know, number 3 is the sun is your watch, really, because I didn't have a phone. I didn't have access to the internet. The only time I got on the internet is when I went to the library. My phone bill was cut off after like a couple weeks of not paying it. And I think I got into like pen paling. I think I wrote a couple people or emailed people. So like to keep in touch. So anytime I would go to the library, I would just check my email and be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm alive. I'm still okay. I didn't know what day it was most of the time, and I didn't really know what time it was half the time. Like, I would just look up and be like, okay, it looks like it's 2:15. So that's something that I learned. The sun is your watch. Number 4, don't wear shoes around someone who is barefoot. And that should be universal, you know, like, people who, you know, who don't have, like, you know, they say you're complaining about not having shoes when this person doesn't have feet. It's kind of like that, where, like, if you have something and you know that you're going to be around someone who doesn't have that, who couldn't afford it or whatever, just don't do that, you know. Same thing goes with, like, smoking. I think I have a rule about that. Yeah, that's number 9. Don't smoke cigarettes around people unless you want to bum them all out. Yeah, like, that's a big rule. Like, if you smoke, I smoked cigarettes back then, don't smoke around people who don't smoke cigarettes, because basically you're just the neighborhood bum, cigarette bummer who's just giving out cigarettes to people. Hey, let me get one of those. That was crazy annoying. Don't wear shoes around people who don't have shoes or who is barefoot. Don't smoke cigarettes around people. You know, if you have something, don't be around people. And these are just survival things. I mean, obviously I'm in a better spot right now. So if I have an excess of things, then I'll usually give it away, like, no problem. But if I'm already struggling, like, if this was like the last few bucks I spent on weed or cigarettes, I'm not going to be smoking that around people who don't have it, you know. Yeah. Number 5 was pick up pennies, because money is money. You have no idea how many times that I've actually dug through the garbages in Los Angeles and Santa Monica. People literally throw money in the garbage. Literally, I found like $10 on the ground. I found like I think I found $20 was like the most I found. I found a whole like pre-rolled joint on the ground one time. I was just like, man, it'd be nice if I can smoke some weed. And I'm like walking down Santa Monica somewhere, and it was like a perfectly rolled joint that was just there. And I was like, oh my God. And of course I picked it up and I smoked it. I was, you know, trying to survive. I was digging through garbages, trying to find things that trying to find cans, because I was donating cans or whatever it is, where you take the cans to the place and they give you like a nickel for it. I was collecting cans and bottles. So I would dig through the garbages to look at how many cans and bottles people threw away. And I found physical cash a lot of the times. Physical cash. So anytime I saw a penny on the ground, I'm like, pick that shit up. I don't care. Money is money. That's just a good rule for everyone. You know, people throw money away. Sometimes I think someone, I forgot who told me this. I think it was Stoney, told me that he has some friend who just like literally crumples up physical money, like intentionally. They'll crumple up dollars and just throw them in the garbage, just because they know that whoever's digging through the garbage, obviously they're going to need some money, and it'll be really nice for someone to find it. Hey, if you have an excess of cash and you just want to throw money away and you don't know how to get rid of it, just literally try taking a $20 bill, crumpling it up and just throwing it in the garbage in like a poor neighborhood or near a gas station, where people dig through the garbage, dollar trees. And you'd be surprised, like, you wouldn't even be surprised. It's a good way of giving back without actually, like, having to talk to people. Because someone's going to find it. Okay, this is getting pretty long. Let's see what I have. Number 6, if you have something valuable, carry it everywhere all the time. That was just, like, the big thing. I remember on day 1 of being nomadic in Los Angeles, my ex, I'm pretty sure he got robbed. I forgot the story. Maybe I'll have to rehash it with him, but like, I'm pretty sure like on day 1, he lost his driver's license and his wallet. That's what it was. Like someone stole his wallet, like on the day 1. And and it's like, if you have something valuable, carry it with you all the time, everywhere. At that point we did have a storage unit. So we were paying like $50-$60, I forgot how much per month for a little closet storage space, where we just kept like things that we didn't want to carry around with us all the fucking time, because that's kind of how it is if you're completely nomadic. If it's something that you value, carry it with you all the time. And it's just funny how people have whole houses full of shit that they don't even care about, so yeah. This is getting really long. Number 7, if cops bother you, quote, "I'm really sorry, officer," end quote, translates to "fuck the police." And this is back when I actually lived by that, "fuck the police." I actually don't have a problem with the cops now, but back in the day, cops would talk to me, and just saying "I'm really sorry, officer," it translates to like basically go fuck yourself. Number 8, don't charge for bumming smokes. So if someone bums smokes from you, don't charge them for it. That's just stupid. And that brings me to number 9, which is don't smoke cigarettes around people unless you want to bum them all out. So you're not going to charge people for bumming a smoke. So don't smoke around them. That's just that. Number 10, if people are rude to you, thanks, God bless, translates to go fuck yourself. And really now I'd say that's kind of the same, except it's like, it sort of means like both to me now. Like, of course, living in the South, everyone says, well, bless your heart. And a lot of people take offense to that, but I don't. I really mean bless your heart, but I kind of mean it in a go fuck yourself kind of way. Not all the time. Most of the time I really mean like, bless your heart and soul. But to someone who's being rude to me, when they're like, oh, go get a fucking job, you fucking bum, I'll be like, thank you, God bless. And it's just kind of one of those like, little stings that they don't really like to hear. Like, God bless you. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Number 11 is mind your own business. This should be really number 1. Mind your own business. A lot of times people, they want to, that's just self-explanatory. I shouldn't have to explain that. Just mind your own business. If you look at something for so long, it's like a car accident, like, damn, you just can't help but look. Now you're involved. Now they see that you're looking, and now they're going to come over and ask you, hey, did you see that shit? And now you're like, oh, hell, I was just looking. Well, just mind your own business. We were sleeping on the sidewalk off of like 17th and San Pedro, I believe, and there's just like tents everywhere, heroin addicts, crack addicts, meth heads, all kinds of addicts. People will come up to me and ask me for shit all the fucking time, like to buy stuff from me or to sell stuff to me, and I'm just like, nah, man, I know, just keep on going. I'm just sitting there minding my own business. That's like a good rule. Just mind your own business. Don't underestimate the power of having a sign, which is good. I'm actually literally looking. I keep this sign. For the longest time, I was against having a sign because it was just giving like panhandly and beggar. But to make money out there, because I had my German Shepherd, I couldn't work really, or I couldn't leave my dog unattended while being homeless, so my dog had to come to work with me. So what I did for money out there, besides donating the cans and the bottles and stuff, was I would take my guitar to the corner by the highway and I would play my guitar, just like I play like 5 different songs and just keep playing, like loop them around and stuff on this intersection, and that's how I made my money. I made hundreds of dollars just busking on the street corner. And when it started to have like better results when I made a sign, and the sign was just saying, hungry, anything helps. I'm hungry, anything helps. And people would give me food, money. I've made hundreds of dollars. It's what got me back to Colorado, was playing that guitar. I played it for like 2 hours a day, every single day, except like when I felt sick or if the weather wasn't good. But every day I would go to that corner, tie my dog up to like the nearest tree, get a crate and like a little tip jar thing, and I would just play like the same 5 songs over and over again. And the sign really fucking helped. People gave me food. People gave me dog food. You know, never underestimate the power of having a sign. I was always a big on, you know, I don't want to beg. If people give me money, I want to earn it. So I never actually got money from a sign without having my guitar with me. Sometimes people did see me just sitting there minding my own business, and they would just give me money or food. I think one person gave me a Bible one time, just minding my own business without a sign. But if I had a sign, I was always playing my guitar. I was always, you know, trying to earn my living. So I'm looking at the sign right now. I actually keep it on the side in my door. I updated it. It says anything helps, and I added my PayPal and my Cash App because this was actually post-COVID when I was busking in Arizona. People were like weary about, they're not trying to give you physical cash or touch you. So I had that sign when I was in Arizona playing outside of a Walmart, and people would Cash App me money. And that's great. So I like having the sign, and I have it right now just in case if I feel like a moment. Actually, I still have the original sign. It's in my guitar case. I just keep it for nostalgic reasons. You know, if I just feel like going out and sitting on a corner and playing my guitar, I have my sign with me. It's a good one. Number 13, we're almost done with this. I'm just pushing right along here. Number 13 is very important. When you come across a toilet, use it. That's probably one of my biggest struggles while being completely nomadic was there's just not enough bathrooms around. And in LA, the people they had public bathrooms, but they were always just like, people would OD in these bathrooms, you know what I mean? There was people literally OD'd and like laid out on the street, like naked. It was really kind of sad to see. Like Skid Row, if you know anything about Skid Row, like look up that place. It's a real place. And that was literally where I lived for months. And, you know, people wouldn't let you use the bathrooms unless you bought something. And, you know, as a homeless person, I can't afford to buy things all the fucking time. So anytime I came across a toilet that was like public or free and clean and didn't have someone like laid out in it, just use it. Even if you don't have to use a fucking bathroom, just use it. That was a big struggle for me. Number 14, do not completely trust your fellow hobo friends. I don't know why I wrote that. I mean, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's sort of like, yeah, if you're all in the same fucking boat together, you know, you gotta be able to trust people, but you can't really completely fully trust the people who are also struggling with you. And I know it sounds really like, I don't know who this was directed towards, but you can't really trust the people who are struggling, you know, with you. If you're struggling, not that I was struggling, but I'm out there sleeping on the sidewalk by choice, but there are people who are out there sleeping on the sidewalk because they had to, because they had, you know, other shit going on, mental problems or drug problems, and they were cool. A lot of them were cool if you know how to take care of yourself and, you know, be aware of your surroundings, but you know, take it with a grain of salt. You can't completely trust people who are going through the same shit that you're going through. I think that sort of applies like everywhere, you know. I forgot who that one was about. Number 15, I'm almost done here. If you are a nice person, water is free. That was awesome, because that's a great rule, because I would go to this 7-Eleven that was on the corner. I think it was a 7-Eleven. Yeah, it was a 7-Eleven. I would go there like once a day or every other day with like a big ass jug, an empty jug. And I would always say good morning or hi to them. And I'd ask them, I was like, hey, is it okay if I get some water? And every day I'd come in there, or every other day I'd go in there, and he'd be like, yes, go ahead. And he'd let me fill up the water. And that happened just a couple other places too, where if you're nice, you know, water is free. But there was another time when, you know, you go somewhere and you know, people would just be like, get the fuck out of here. You know, if you're not buying anything, get the fuck out of here. But for the most part, if I was nice every day, I would get free water all the time. And water is crucial. With my German Shepherd, like that bitch drank so much water. I had to have water all the time. And so, yeah, being nice gets you places, opens doors for you. Just be a nice person. Number 16, don't piss where you sleep. Very important, because, yeah, you don't want to, you're sleeping there. And there are times where I really had to use the bathroom, and it's like, it's late and nothing's open. So I would have to like walk down like a few tents down and like pop a squat off the curb or something like that. As long as it's not directly in front of my tent or other people's tents where other people are sleeping, that's just common sense, right? Don't piss where you sleep. Now, there are plenty of people who do that. Like, like, I remember seeing, like, this big-ass, like, street cleaner thing. It's, like, one of those, or street sweeper cleaner things. It was, like, the big truck with the brushes on the bottom. It was, like, one of these days, and it was just, like, going down just one street in 𝙎𝗵𝗀𝙍, and it was just, like, cleaning up all the debris that was, like, was left there, because at the beginning of the month or something like that, or certain times of the month, you know, all the homeless people would get their checks, and and you can just tell, because like everyone was just in a better mood. People were like eating, people were, you know, just wilding out and shit. So people would get money, their government money, and they would just wild out and just trash the whole street. And there was this big ass truck, I remember one time seeing it, and it was just like pushing all the debris to the end of the block, and most of it was like needles, fucking human shit. People would like just shit on the sidewalk. What is it? Bags of chips and like soda cans and shit, like all this kind of trash, and it was really sad to see. People would literally just like, they just walk out on the street and just take a dump right there in the middle of the fucking street. LA is no joke. It is not for the weak, okay? If you want to be like nomadic and you want to like do it, you know, really, it taught me a lot. Like I said, it taught me a lot, but I wouldn't recommend going there if you're just trying to like, you know, not pay rent, man, just stick it to the man. That's not the place to go and do it. Probably like Arizona, or Florida. Go there. But if you're going to go to LA, to do the nomadic lifestyle, the beach wasn't too bad, but they had like, you know, beach cops and shit. It was rough. It was rough out there. LA is no joke. This is getting too long. I'm going to stop this soon. We have 3 more. 17 is, it's better to have a knife and not need it than to need a knife and not have it. That is just self-explanatory. I slept with a fucking knife under my pillow every fucking night, because you'd be surprised how many people accidentally walk into your tent while you're sleeping, and forgot where they were. And, you know, my German Shepherd mostly took care of that problem. She just like, back the fuck up, barking at them and stuff. And they were like, oh shit. Actually, my German Shepherd saved my life many a fucking times, in LA specifically. And that's why I love her. She will always be the best dog ever. Harley, I love you. But yeah, just in case you don't have a German Shepherd, keep a knife with you all the fucking time. That's what I did. I didn't go anywhere without my German Shepherd or my knife. It's better to need it. And I never had to use it. My dog never injured anybody, you know, not intentionally. Okay. Number 18, people in homes literally throw money in the trash. I was talking about, yeah, they literally do. So yeah, I was not afraid to dumpster dive. Literally, it fed me many nights. And 19 is, don't let anyone know your next move. And that's, again, pretty self-explanatory. Don't let anyone know your next move. When I was leaving California to come back to Colorado, I didn't even tell anybody that I was planning to do that. I just wasn't there one day. I was just like saving up my money from busking and getting all my ducks in a row. And then I bought my Greyhound ticket, and 3 days later, I was gone. I took my German Shepherd, and we were back in Colorado. I didn't tell anybody. I think I told one person, got their email address. I don't actually know where she is. She's probably dead now. But yeah, I didn't tell anybody. Never let anyone know your next move, because the same thing goes back to that other rule where it's like, you can't really trust your hobo friends. You can't really fully trust your hobo friends, even if they mean well. You know, desperate times calls for desperate measures for a lot of people. Okay, I think I'm rambling a little bit too much, but anyway, thank you so much for listening to my hobo adventures and my international travel and yada yada yada. Like I said, please email me your questions if you need any advice about anything, like relationships, drugs, work, traveling, the hobo life, LA, anything. Email me 𝙤𝙤𝙀𝙐@gmail.com. I'll see you next time. I'll be having some guest stars, theoretically. A couple people want to come on this show. But for now, it's just me. I'm just here. I'm parked at the Panera Bread. Now I'm going to go get some weed. And this was good. This was much better than last time. It had a nice little flow to it, right? Chandie speaks at @gmail.com. Email me. Thanks for listening. See you next time.